Hi Love Bug, welcome back to my channel. This is Priya, your Love Plus Manifestation Coach. And in today's video, I'm going to be addressing what is love between two people and how do you actually know when you are in love? Now, what I'm about to share with you here today is truly a game changer because once you become privy to this key universal principle, it will allow you to experience true love in a very effortless, natural manner. But before I get started, I first want to make you aware of my brand new free masterclass, the proven 6-step formula to manifest your epic love life from within, that you can get instant access to right now by clicking the link below in the description box. Okay, let's now get back to the theme of this training. What is love between two people? Now, where I want to begin here today is by first taking a look at the problem. First taking a look at what people actually get confused about and what therefore keeps them stuck. So the other day I was reading a comment from somebody in my community who stated that, Priya, I know you talk loads about self-love and doing the inner work and going within. But in the context of a relationship, how does this work? If I'm focused on myself and focused on self-love, isn't that selfish? Won't my partner think that's selfish? And also in the context of two people, then where is the love between two people? Now, I thought this was a brilliant question because a lot of people do have confusion about how self-love fits in with the manifestation process and how it fits in when it comes to being in a relationship. How does that all tie up together? So to really answer this question and to do it justice, I first want to talk about what true love is, because once you gain an understanding about what true love is, you will then be able to translate what that looks like in a relationship, which will then allow me to answer this question. So let's first talk about what is love. Now, to a lot of people, there is a flawed premise that love is about what somebody does or doesn't do, what somebody says or doesn't say. So for many people, experiencing love in their life is completely contingent upon what their partner does or doesn't do, say or doesn't say. Now, when experiencing love in your life is contingent upon what somebody else is doing or not doing, when it is contingent upon something else outside of you, you automatically become a victim to your circumstances. Because now your happiness and your well-being is completely contingent upon what somebody else does or doesn't say. And the reality is, nobody can be your piss boy or piss girl forever. People get tired and exhausted from doing this. And this is what leads to a lot of relationships being unhealthy, being unbalanced, and being toxic. It's people imposing expectations on one another and saying, you know what, if you really love me, then you would do this and you wouldn't say this and you would say this. So again, it comes back to this whole thing that love is about doing something or not doing something, saying something or not saying something. Now, when love becomes contingent upon something, you have just made love conditional. And true love is not conditional. So what this means is that what people label love, for most people, meaning, their meaning of that is when somebody does or doesn't do something that I prefer or that I want, then it means they really love me. Most people give that the label of love, when in reality, this is not love. In reality, this is codependency. So what most people think is love is really them being in a state of codependency. Because here's the truth. Here is the highest universal perspective and principle. Love is unconditional. Love is limitless. Love has no boundaries. Love is not contingent upon something. So when you make love conditional, you're boxing love in, you're trying to shrink love, and love cannot be shrinked. So love has nothing to do with what somebody else is doing or not doing, or to do with somebody outside of you or another person. contrary to what we have been taught and conditioned to believe is true as a society. True love comes from within. You are the source of love. True love is the connection between you and your higher self, God, source, the universe, your divinity, whatever you want to call it. It's you tapping into that higher infinite connection that is part of you, that aspect of you that is God, that aspect of you that is divine. That is what true love is, when you are tapped into that broader perspective, that wider perspective. When you are tapped in to your higher self, when you are tuned in or connected to your higher self, what begins to happen is that you begin to perceive life through the eyes of your higher self. Now, from the perspective of the universe, your soul, your higher self, God, whatever you want to call it, that non-physical aspect of you, that non-physical aspect of you is loving you 24/7, is loving everybody 24/7. That higher aspect of you, divine aspect of you, does not need a reason to love. It just loves because that's its natural state. And therefore, it doesn't make love conditional. So when you're berating yourself, when you're condemning yourself, and when you're thinking that you're not good enough, that higher aspect of you is loving you exactly the way that you are. No matter what you do, it is always loving you unconditionally 24/7. And this is what true love is. True love is just loving for the sake of loving, because loving is your natural state of being. It's who you are at your core. So when you are in alignment, and alignment meaning that you're allowing that connection between you and your higher self to be the fullest that it can be, and you begin to perceive life therefore through the eyes of your higher self, what it means is that you will begin to love without an agenda. And this is what true love is. Can you love without an agenda, or are you somebody who is naming it love, and so you think you're loving, but really you're loving with an expectation, so it's not really loving. Oh, if I do this, then it's going to prove to this person that I love them. Or, well, if I love this person, then what it means is I should do these things, because love means doing these things. And when I do these things, it means I'm going to get this response from my partner. Because if you are loving with expectation of getting something back in return, this is not true love. And this is where a lot of people trip up. A lot of people say that they're loving, or that they are being loving, when in reality they're only doing these things because they expect something in return. Now, true love is the opposite of this. True love says, I'm going to love you no matter what. I'm going to love you irrelevant of your behavior. I love you exactly the way you are. So true love is unconditional love. It is loving without an agenda. Now, when you can love without an agenda, you are truly in love. Now, you might be thinking, well, hang on a minute. Well, okay, if I was to just love for the sake of loving and not expect anything in return, then how does that work in the context of a relationship? What you're telling me, that I should just be okay with whatever my partner does? Here is where your understanding of the law of attraction and how universal principles really work is very important. When you begin to love, because love is your natural state of being, when you begin to love just for the sake of loving, when you begin to love without an agenda, you are dwelling at the highest frequency. You are living at the highest vibration. So when you begin to live at that highest vibration of love and you become love itself, you've just become a love magnet. You've become a powerful beacon for love. Now, what this means is that every single thing in your reality must show up to show you the love that you are. Every single thing in your reality will demonstrate to you the love that you are. Meaning, you will begin to manifest the most loving version of people, period, as a natural byproduct of who you are being. So when you take the time to focus on self-love, meaning to take the time to focus on allowing that connection between you and your higher self to be fully here and open and present now, and you consistently live there, you will become the vibration of love. You will become love itself. And when that occurs, you will only attract the most loving aspects and versions of people into your reality. Now, this probably sounds a bit counterintuitive, because for a lot of people, they think, well, if my partner's doing something that I don't like or that I do not prefer, it's up to me to go talk to them and to, have a discussion about, well, I don't like this, and you need to be more like this and that. And most people will go down that route. When in reality, that's not really going to get you long-term results, or that is going to lead you to more toxic relationships, because you haven't yet changed your vibration. You haven't yet done the inner work. And everything is a reflection of you. So if you want the mirror to smile back at you, you first have to smile. So when you try to have a discussion about things with your partner before you've really shifted your vibration, it's not going to last. Now, conversely, when you focus on your vibration and on the internal work, as mentioned, everything naturally shifts around you to mirror back to you who you are being. So now, in the context of a relationship, well, what is love between two people? Love between two people is simply when you can love without an agenda. Meaning, when two people who are whole individually come together. And what do I mean by whole? Well, the energy of wholeness says, I am good enough the way that I am lovable the way that I am, and I am worthy the way that I am. So when you feel completely whole from the inside out, and you do not need a single thing to change outside of you in order for you to know and to feel the love that you are, this is when you are in the energy of wholeness. This is when you feel whole. So now you will be matched up with somebody else who feels whole. So now when you are in the dynamic of a relationship, you both will be able to love without an agenda. You will both naturally be loving to one another. You will both naturally evoke the best out of one another, because you have taken the time to become the best version of yourself. Now let's talk about what happens if you don't do that. What happens if you don't take the time to love yourself first, or to get into that energy of love? If you kind of completely miss out the self-love piece, then what it means is that you will attract a relationship or a partner who also doesn't fully love themselves. And when this happens, this is when you get into toxic relationships, because what happens is then you revert back to that codependency relationship, where most people think that's love, but it's not love. That's the whole dynamic of, oh, well, if you do this, then it means you love me. And if you don't do this, then it means that you don't love me. So you're going to play out that whole codependency pattern until one of you gets sick and tired of it, or you're both just going to have a very unhappy, unhealthy, unbalanced relationship. So, how do you know when you are in love? Ask yourself this question. Can I love without an agenda? Am I loving right now without an agenda? Am I being loving without expecting anything in return? Because if this is the state of consciousness that you are in, then this means that you are truly in love. Whereas if you are being loving, where at the back of your mind you're expecting something in return, so I'm doing this so that this person will then do this, that's not true love. That is codependency being masked as love. Now, to summarize, what is love between two people? Love between two people is basically when two people who are whole come together and they are able to love without an agenda. They're able to love just because that's their natural state of being. They show up as the best version of themselves, and they keep evoking the best out of one another because they have taken the time to first become the best version of themselves. So this is what love between two people really is. It's being able to love without an agenda. When you are loving without an agenda, you are seeing life through the eyes of your higher self, because remember, your higher self is loving you unconditionally 24/7, no matter what. No matter what. So, my main message from this video is that true love is connection to your higher self. True love is alignment. You are the source of love. Once the relationship between you and your higher self clicks into place, meaning you have become the greatest version of yourself, this is when you will be able to attract the most loving version of people. This is when you will be able to love without an agenda. Because love is not conditional. Love is sovereign. Thanks for watching this video, Love Bug, on what is love between two people and how to know when you are in love. Don't forget to smash that like button if this video resonated for you, and remember to subscribe to my channel and hit that notification button to be notified every time I post new videos around how to manifest your epic love life. Catch you soon.